Hello and welcome to the first video from Medway of 2026. Now I'm recording this on the 2nd of January, so I hope you all had a good Christmas and New Year. In this video, we'll be having a little look back at 2025, plans for 2026, how we're progressing on the update of the layout, some new arrivals, and also a little project I had in mind. So, as the people say, sit back, grab yourself a cuppa, and welcome to the update. Now, I'm mindful of trying to keep it within a reasonable amount of time, so it might be split up to two. So, it could be a couple of cups of tea. See you soon. 2025 was a year of change. I decided that due to the station area, the Metcalfe buildings were starting to sort of bubble and not explode, but sort of come apart. Not because it's damp in the garage, but I think, as I mentioned previously, you get a fluctuation of temperatures. Sometimes it can be very hot, sometimes it can be quite cold, and perhaps the change of atmosphere isn't great for them. One mistake I probably made was that I didn't put any protective spray on. The Nickdale buildings that are card as well, I gave them a couple of sprays with artist protecting spray, and that seems to have worked well. So yeah, one of the lessons learned. But I wasn't totally happy with that area, and so made a decision similar to our at Dragon Junction to rebuild it. Now, as you would expect, it was much easier taking it apart than it was putting the new one back together. And I admit I was quite daunted with it when I realised how much work. I made the decision to go with Bunter's Yards, pre-made, pre-painted, and platform pieces. Now, I could have made a decision, and perhaps the more sensible decision would have been to remove all the ballast and the ground cover and just gone back to baseboards and built it again. But to be honest with you, I would have been too daunted to do that. So we're living with what was there. So perhaps they're not 100% level, these platforms, and you do have the joins. Now I notice that Bunters have now got a large laser cutter so they can do longer lengths. But I'll disguise that. But to make the decision of using their platforms, I think, was indeed the right one. We've got that lovely station building that Dave built for me. There's a footbridge that he's in the process of being on the list of his custom jobs. The new lighting was put in, so I am pleased with how that's looking now. But I think, yeah, probably why things stalled last year was for that reason. I was waiting for the platforms to come in, but it was something I wasn't looking forward to. Now it's done, then that's great. And I am going to be investigating changing the card kits over. So plans for 2026. Now that the station area, the hard work has been done. If you've watched some of my previous videos, we are moving over to the industrial area, and I've started to build the JS models kits, and pleased with how they're coming along. So that's great. Other jobs, the detailing of the inside of the station building, detailing of the signal box, and just finishing off that area. We're going to move to the Bowls Club and finally start detailing the inside of that excellent replica of Peninsula Bowls Club, the club I am a member of, their clubhouse. That was done from Paul from Gelgorm Hall, and it's a brilliant model. Little bit of work as we move around the Audi building. It's starting to yellow a bit, so a paint of that, I think, and it could reinvent itself as a Tesco's. So watch this space. As we move around the buildings and Metcalfe houses and shops, again, one of the first I built, and maybe in a rush to get something in, and they're not as straight as I like. And as you look, they are a little bit wonky. Didn't really think on the lighting, so some haven't got lighting. And I've just seen some 3D printed houses and shops and a pub. So I'm thinking about that. So I'll keep you updated. We move around. Again, you might want to refer back to the previous tour visit. The church area I'm pretty happy with, a little bit of tidying up, and we're okay on that. And then, as I said, we've got the industrial area and the front of that. I've got my eye on a replacement for the tea house. That's 3D printed, and also maybe the fire station. So again, watch this space for what's going to happen, and let's keep you updated. So there we are. That's the plans for 2026, and let's now have a look at how I've been getting on building some more of those JS model kits. Next, we're going to be looking at the industrial area and the JS model kits. Now, as you would have seen from previous videos, I've completed now the JS models boiler house and chimney. Plans are that that will have some detailing inside. I've popped a light module in, and I've seen some 3D items that I think will fit quite nicely there. But the detailing will be after I've built the rest of the kits and we've got everything nicely in place. So next kit to build, in fact 2 kits to build, was what was going to go next to it alongside the piece of track. Now originally, and I nearly put an order in for it, was going to be a JS Models warehouse. Then I saw that Jonathan had bought a new kit out, a low relief warehouse with a platform along. And I thought that would be ideal, but it's low relief, so I haven't got back to it. So I had a little thought in my mind, and I contacted Jonathan and said, does your low relief warehouse back mirror the new platform kit that you've got? He said yes. So therefore, the two put together would in fact make a nice building. So I changed my order for what I was picking up at Getz and started on that. So I'll show you how we got on finishing the back, and I think I'd already started that, you saw in the previous video, and then I've completed the front. Now this time I thought ahead a little bit and had been detailing or painting the inside, because I wasn't sure what you'd be able to see, especially with the lights on. There's going to be details on that, or detailing I should say, and figures put in, again some DMG light modules. Now I'm not going to join them permanently together, because if I needed to change anything, especially the batteries in the light modules, then I'd have an issue. So they do fit together very nicely, but of course you've got the joins lines down the side, and I think I'll disguise those with maybe some plastic cutting, and then the roof, the last strip of tiles I've just left to hang over, and you can't really see the join. So let's go and have a look and see how I put those together and actually see them in situ. The JS model's low relief factory back is now completed as much as I want to at the moment before I start the low relief warehouse, and the two are joined together. So what have we done since the last time? We've got the glazing in, roof's been done, and then if I turn it round, what I've done is just painted inside, and also if we look a little closer, I've just downloaded from Railway Modelers, which is a scale model scenery, from the app, some flooring. Now the good thing about scale model sceneries stroke Railway Modelers Club is that there's an extensive library of downloads. I went to the flooring and just picked up, here we go, as you can see, scale model scenery, some flooring, wooden flooring here, just a little darker version, just to give it a little bit of detail. Now in hindsight, what I should have done is sprayed the front and the back of the windows, but it doesn't look too bad, and don't forget it's going to have a front on and you'll probably only be able to see through the windows, but we're going to put a bit of detailing together. I want to start the other one just to see how it looks with them both together, but there we are, the JS Models low relief factory back. Okay, so we have the low relief warehouse with platform married to the previously completed low relief warehouse back, and as you can see they fit quite nicely. Yes, there is a seam down the side. I'll probably disguise that with some plastic strip to represent some guttering. I want to keep the two separate because I'm going to put those little light modules in, and it will just enable me to change the batteries as and when required. So let's just see it a little close up. As you can see through, so I'm going to put some detailing in, and there we go. We've got the doors and the shutters sort of semi-open, so we can put some detailing in the middle. And if I just show you from the side, excuse me there, and it's sitting nicely with the boiler house, and there's just room where you can see shed. It's the JS Models shed that's been made for British Railway Modelling magazine, and I'm going to pick one of those up. So there we go. Okay, a little tour of the garage. You can see on the wall are some of the old style posters, and I'll just zoom in a little bit there. And then on the far wall we have some sort of artwork. There we've got a shelf, and then I've found the DAB radio, and so that's now working, and the clock, and as you can see the temperature is 12 degrees, so a little chilly. And if we pan out, excuse fingers, that gives you a little idea of the layout. The Fragonset black livery I always liked. I thought it looked really good. It was a short-term leasing company in the sort of 90s. I think it ran for a few years before inevitably I think it joined together with FM Rail and then went to the wall. But as I say, I love the black livery. So I picked up a Hornby Class 73 and I've put a sound decoder in it. Helgen do a Class 33, which I've got, and again I've put sound in that. The Curacao, which I've got a pre-order in, are doing the Class 31 in the Fragonset livery. So the only missing piece of the jigsaw is the Class 47. Now, researching through, I can only find it in a Lima DC version. Neither Cavalex or Hornby or in fact Bachmann have produced it or are going to produce it in a Fragonset livery. So then I had a thought. After asking a couple of the chaps at the club, similar to the Class 73 Lima body, it's a straight clip-on to the Hornby 73. So I thought, would the same work for the Class 47? So I did ask a couple of people at the club, can you just pop a Lima Class 47 body straight onto a railroad Class 47 chassis? And the answer was yes. So I did a little research on eBay and came across a mint condition Fragonset Class 47 Lima. I put an offer in for £35 and it was accepted. And when it came, it certainly was mint. And bear in mind, I was only interested in the body. So I then had a look out, and TMC had a Christmas sale, and I picked up the Hornby Railroad TXS fitted Class 47. So the decision would be to put the Class 47 Fragonset body onto the Hornby Railroad chassis. Then I would just take the motor out of the Lima chassis, make it free running, slip the Hornby body on, and that could be in rail tours where you usually have a diesel on the back of a steam rail tour. So that was the plan. I was also going to put a driver in, and if any of you remember back, I've got the little light modules from DMG Elec. Now, would they work for a cab light and to be able to give us a spotlight at the front? Okay, so shall we go and see what happened? So as I was advised, the Lima Class 47 body does indeed fit onto a Hornby Railroad 47 chassis. I'd bought the TXS fitted model in BR green, and I gave it a run, as you would have seen on the video. Just now I've added a stay alive and a little bit extra weight. I don't know if you can see it now, but I will put it in a picture, but I've painted and added a driver and also cab lights. I did want to see if I could get a DMG module into the front so as we'd have a spotlight, but it just didn't work. So next up is to give it a run to make sure everything is okay. It's probably an apt time to look back at 2025 and probably the years previously. And I think um, since taking up this hobby, what, just before COVID 2019, how many, say, friends I've made. Um, you look back at it, and who's somebody who's been supporting me virtually from the start and has been a mine of information and I suppose inspiration is John over at Piccadilly, and it's great to watch what he does, but he's always very um, open with help, and that's great. Other people, and I'll miss some names out, and I do apologise, but Lee, Wall, and John over at Xhaven have been terrific support, and people I'd be happy and do go out and have a drink with. Um, Dear Alan at Dragon Junction has always been supportive, and I love being able to speak to him. Alan at Buckland Junction, um, yeah, Pete at Delph Junction as well. Yeah, the list goes on. Gary Hart, who I bumped into at a show, um, and his daughter Kim, and it's brilliant always catching up with him. And a lot of you people who I watch have been a great inspiration. It's nice chatting over Facebook with Graham Forston. You know, people's names who I haven't mentioned um, have been a great support, and I do thank you all. I'd also like to thank the members of um, my Model Railway Club Chatham and District Model Railway Club. It's great popping down there, either on a Tuesday or a Friday, and sometimes it's just nice to get away and be able to speak to them. Now, it's very rarely that I actually take anything to run up there, and people say to me, "Well, yeah, what's the point?" But it's great just to have a couple of hours away from everything, and just chatting to people, seeing who's got what, admiring kits that perhaps Stuart's built, scenery from Justine. Yeah, they're all terrific people, and it's been brilliant. So, for all the people who I've either commented on your videos, you've commented on mine, I've met at shows, the Chatham Model Railway Club members. It's a big thank you to you, and looking forward to lots more in the new year. So much appreciated, everyone, and keep well. There we go. The first update of a brand new year. I'd like to say a big thank you to the new subscribers. You're very welcome, and as I've said before, I hope you stay with us. A massive thanks to the 100 or so faithful who always watch. And I appreciate that, and I also appreciate the comments as well. I always look to make sure that they're answered. Sometimes YouTube can be a bit funny, and then all of a sudden I've looked and seen I haven't responded. But it is very much appreciated that you take the time. Over the last year and the last few years, um, I think it's fair to say that we've made friends, um, and it's been a pleasure. Some of them I've managed to meet. Al at Buckland Junction, of course, Lee Wall and John over at Exhaven. There's Peter Dixon, who came to the show. Um, dear Al at Dragon Junction 2, who doesn't seem to mind me, um, let's say, taking a leaf out of his book. And as I think I mentioned before, he was an inspiration for me to actually get going with the station rebuild. Um, Sort of repeating going forward, I now think that the major work has been done on the layout. It needs the right wiring tidying up, and that's something I shall do probably in the spring, because it can get rather chilly in the garage at the moment, and the coat has had plenty of use. But there's plenty to do indoors. And the enjoyable things, the jazz models kits have got a lot of figure painting to do. So, um, yeah, really quite looking inspired to get going this year. Um, what will I be doing in 2026? Well, I'll be looking to get to some more shows. One certainly will be the one at Thamesmead, the Eris Model Railway Show. Then there's a few other localish ones, Ali Pally, and of course our show at Chatham in July. I'll also look into somebody suggested perhaps going to visit people's layouts, and um, I've, I'd already had planned to see Lee and John next year just for a nice catch up. Our Buckland Junction has offered for me to go there, so from April onwards I'll be looking to visit. Um, Also, if anybody sort of in the southeast wouldn't mind me popping up, yep, just let me know. Another big thank you to my good friend Gary Hart and his daughter Kim. Um, it's always nice seeing them at the shows and chatting around. And then Gary and Kim, once A, the weather gets warmer, and B, I've made the garage a little more health and safety compliant, then they'll come up too. So there we are. Um, may I take the opportunity, obviously, to wish everybody a successful and, more importantly, a healthy 2026. So it's bye from now, and speak to you soon. Cheers, everybody. Bye.